rahmatullah, we are now standing outside Masjid-e-Nimrah. Masjid-e-Nimrah is the location that the Prophet ﷺ camped with on the day of Arafah, and then he walked to Jabal Rahmah. We will be at Jabal Rahmah tonight. So he stayed here in Masjid-e-Nimrah, and the masjid is now one of the largest in the world. You have, I think, 400,000 people can pray in this masjid, and it's used one day of the year. That's it. Others is closed because nobody lives here. So for one day of the year, they built this massive masjid, and on that day, you would think there's 4 million, not 400,000 people. It's absolutely packed. You cannot even move. It's just absolutely packed. And our Prophet ﷺ stayed here, and he said, I have stayed here and I'm making dua in Jabal Rahmah, but all of Arafah is exactly the same. And this is the wisdom of our Prophet ﷺ, that he wanted us to know that obviously he has to live in some spot, he has to spend the night in some spot, or spend the day in some spot. No one should think that that spot is the only spot you can come to. All of Arafah is equal when it comes to making dua and having your duas accepted. So you don't have to come to this spot, and that's the wisdom of our Prophet to tell us this. It was at this spot and at Jabal Rahmah, between these two places, that the Prophet gave the famous Khutbatul Wada'. The Khutbatul Wada', in fact, it wasn't just one sermon. It was generic advice that he gave in 2 or 3 occasions, and within a day and a half. And so later scholars just summarize it as one khutbah. But it wasn't like one particular sermon that he gave. As well, it is in Masjid-e-Nimrah where the Prophet ﷺ and also the later ulama, Qadhi, that are standing in his place, they give the famous Khutbatul Arafah. Right? This is where the Arafah khutbah takes place. And historically speaking, this is where the Grand Mufti comes and gives the talk. So the Grand Mufti of the kingdom is the one who gives the khutbah of Arafah, because it is the most historic or the most important khutbah of the year, given by the Grand Mufti, who is now Abdul Aziz al-Shaykh. As well, the Masjid of Nimrah, it is called Nimrah because in the days of Jahiliyyah, there was a small village that occurred close by to this location. It was called Nimrah. So this is called Masjid-e-Nimrah after that village, which no longer exists. It doesn't have any significance or meaning. Somebody asked, what is the meaning of Nimrah? It's just the name of that village. And since that time, it's been called the Masjid of Nimrah, which no longer exists to this day. So this is the masjid that we are coming to. Tonight we're going to be coming back to Jabal Rahmah, and I'll give you a talk about a little bit more about the significance of Arafah tonight. At 8 p.m. by the way, we have to be in the M2, all of us at 8 p.m. We are now going to be heading to 2-3 other sites. However, I've been told that the buses cannot stop there because of the new construction. The first site we're going to be going to is, of course, the most iconic of all of Makkah, and that is, what is the most iconic of all of Makkah? Jabal Nur, Ghar Hira. Ghar Hira. It has that iconic mountain where Allah Azza wa Jal sent Jibreel and Iqra was revealed. And we're going to be passing by that. I have asked that at least we stop and take pictures from the bus in the very least. If we find parking, we'll get off, because you will see they're constructing the road there, and so it's difficult to park there. So if we find parking, whatever bus finds parking, you might be able to get off. Otherwise, I said at least stop and take pictures from one side of the bus. So that's going to be Jabal An-Nur. Then we're going to be moving on and passing by a cemetery. Please keep your eyes open. I hope the bus drivers as well announce, I'm only going to be in one bus. That cemetery is called Mu'alla Cemetery. In Mu'alla Cemetery is buried, most famously, Khadija radiallahu anha. That is where Khadija is buried. As well, Abdul Muttalib and others of the famous people who died in Mecca in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that was the cemetery of that time frame. And of course, because it has those historic graves, it is still there to this day. So this is the Mu'alla Cemetery. We will pass by that, and if you are able to, the cemetery is on the right hand side. If you're able to see the very left corner within the grave, when you're facing the grave, the very left backmost, there's going to be a tree and there's going to be a bit of a cement. That is the grave of Khadija. Okay? You're going to see a tree and you're going to see a bit of a walled off area that nobody can go there. That is going to be the grave of Khadija radiallahu anha. Okay. Right after the cemetery, literally one road is going to be the cemetery, one road, a small masjid. Okay? That masjid you need to be paying attention to. It's not massive like this one. It's a very small masjid. And we have a very big microphone. MashaAllah. This is what we're talking about now. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so after Jabal Mu'alla, can you hold this? After, not Jabal Mu'alla, after cemetery of Mu'alla cemetery, we're gonna see a small masjid. The masjid is not, again, listen, we have to be clear. We are looking at a historical tour, not a blessed tour. We don't go, we're not people who go and rub things and get barakah. The only thing we do that from is what the Prophet ﷺ told us, and that's, what do we do for that?
Black stone.
The black stone. Otherwise, we are not people who go and pick up things and take them back home and think that there's going to be blessing. No, this is history tour. We see what happened and we are inspired and we remember what happened. But we are not people of superstition or myth. We are people of Islam, and only Allah benefits and harms us. So we will pass by a masjid that is interesting.